So on Wednesday we watched Frente Guernica at the festival, and I was just hoping that you would give us more information about how you came to the idea with this film, you and Angela, and how you worked on it after Angela left us. So maybe describe the process, because I think it's a very important film for today, and I'm sure that many people who've seen it were eager to find out more.
I was in 2019. I wanted to continue the third part of the Diaries of Angela, but the political sign of and the beginning of the war in Ukraine made to me it was necessary to do a film we wanted to work on about Guernica. And so we worked for almost 2 years about this film. And it is important to know that we then in 2017 we had an exhibition in Kassel with our work about our Russian travels, and so we met the last survivors of the avant-garde, people who worked with Anna Akhmatova, and we used a book of Ilya Ehrenburg to continue this work, and in these materials for Guernica, there is a part about the end of Osip Mandelstam, the author of Journey to Armenia, and we met some person who known Nadezhda Mandelstam, and in this material there was a meeting about the writer, from Europe and also United States and also Russia. And so we found in the siege of Madrid all these faces who had something to do with the death of Osip Mandelstam. And this part is the voice of the poet Lucrezia Lero, who worked also with her voice on the second diaries of Angela, the part regarding the Gothic line, because she was very, very small, and she was on the Gothic line, prisoner in a house where the German army was in front of this house, and she was with her family in this house, and the English and American army. So this is the film was shown in Venice in 23, and after it was shown at the Cinémathèque Française in the big hall. And I didn't go there, but many friends saw the film, and 400 viewers there was there. It was completely full, and nobody left the cinema.
If I can also ask, in Frente a Guernica, I found that there is much more commentary in the film. Your commentary, especially from the second part of the film, which is a difference, a departure from most of your earlier works, where we are mostly just observing images or listening to music or sounds. But here you felt the need to comment much more explicitly on the history of the images, on their meaning. I remember one scene in the middle of the film where you show footage from Morocco, and you say that in these images we can see a sort of structure of colonial relationships at that time, which I found it's a very sort of analytical observation that before you would not find in your work. So I'm interested that you felt the need to be, in that sense, much more explicit. Is there a specific reason for this?
Yes, because yes, it comes out our interest about colonialism. We work a lot about colonialism. And we shown there is a part from the Port of the Equator about Morocco, and there is a short film we made in '93. It's the title is African Diaries, where a traveler walks and film the person without any problems, and veiled women or prostitutes and dancers in the streets, and also different people. And about this work, it came out a work of our friend Scott MacDonald wrote a very beautiful thing about this short film. So we are interested in the Middle Orient, and we made also an installation for in the exhibition Desert in Paris in 2000, where from a private woman who was going to see, she was going to see with a friend and priests the relatives in the Légion étrangère. And it was the 100th year of the conquest of Algeria.
But I was just wondering about how you added more comments. I know a lot of your work with Angela has been about colonialism, but compared to, I don't know, films like Dal Polo all'Equatore or the films about the First World War are sort of silent in the sense that we don't have any assistance from any narration. And here you were very explicit about how we should look at these images. That was just my impression, but
at a certain point of our work, it was necessary to go on to speak. It was important to speak to be present, to be more present on the material in a different way. For us, new. And we have other thing where the voice of Angela also there is in some parts of about our Russian journey, where she speaks of what happened and the meetings with our friend, and we met also the Armenian filmmakers in Leningrad. We went to Leningrad, and they help us to find other materials regarding Uomo and the Russian parts, and also the part of the part of the body of German soldiers thrown in a mass grave. Nobody of them survived, of our friend there.
Yervant, ti volevo chiedere, I wanted to ask you, speaking about the voices, the speaking parts, how did you arrive to Giovanna Marini? Because all the Comerio film, let's call them, there is this amazing sound created by Giovanna Marini. I wonder if it's something that you find it out during the way, or if it was established in a more precise way since the very beginning, as an intention.
Yes, we were friends of a person we were friend of Nanni Ricordi, who was who know her very well, Nanni Ricordi, and he asked to her to if there was a possibility to work with her, and we did with her. We did Prisoners of War. We did a part. We did also a film about India. And on the heights all is peace, su tutte le vette pace, and Uomo, but she was very scared of the material, and so we used only some parts of her work. And I spoke with her the last time, some months ago, before her passing, and she wanted to work again with me, with us, but it was impossible.
I want to ask you if she has composed the music and the song specifically watching part of the films, or if she had made a score and then you and Angela use it according to what you wanted.
No, she for the first time, for Prisoners of War, she saw the film, and we were there we were there. But at a certain point, she was not. It was too full of sound, the film, and in the second film there is not sound almost. Her voice is very, very not so rich. And we use, anyway, we start to use, to write the text for her, the text of prisoners, the text of orphans.
E parlando di riferimenti, di ritrovamenti e dei film Comerio, speaking about the films from tutte le vette dal Polo all'Equatore, su tutte le vette pace, prigionieri della guerra, how did you find the Comerio shootings? How did you find Luca Comerio? Linked to this, can you describe us what is the camera analitica? Because this is linked to the kind of work that you started to make with the Comerio shootings.
Yes, I was looking for finding projectors and machines in 35 millimeter, and so I met perhaps the last lab in Milan, and with that material I found, because he was throwing everything because the Cinematheque was not interested in his work, and so he helped me in making a camera with and I needed to shot one frame by one frame, and also he has some materials for me very interesting, because we started in at the end of 70s in making a film with materials we found in 9.5 films, documentaries and films about German expressionism and French impressionism. So we mixed and we made in 3 years we made catalogues. It was shown at Berlin Forum for the first time, and they bought this film, and there was I don't remember very well, in Bologna perhaps, a meeting with Italian filmmaker, and very important Italian filmmaker, who was not our genre of film, and everybody spoke about how much cost their films, about the millions they spend, and he said, this film costed us un milione di lire, 1 million of lire. And we found the 16 millimeter film from an explorer who returned from from the Everest, and he gave me almost free all what remained to he made for his film. So dal polo all'equatore, we found this image very important, and we worked for almost 4 years in a dark room. Without when I went to, when was finished, I was invited by our friends in Los Angeles, and I saw Milan in a very different way.
Which you say is a very important filmmaker that says that his film cost 1 million lira. Who
No,
was this?
my film costed
Un miliardo di lire.
1 milione. Today 500.
Tuo, ok.
500.
1 million lira, to explain, it's like 1,000 euros. It's not such a gigantic amount of money.
Yeah.
Just to give the scale of.
So yes, in this place we were watched as very strange people. And also regarding our friend Nanni Ricordi, he was the director of Spoleto, and yes, this is important to say this in this geography, and he called Giovanna Marini and her group to sing Gorizia tu sei maledetta. How do you say in English? Gorizia tu sei maledetta. So all the group of Giovanna Marini went in prison. They stay in prison for some days. And she told me, Nanni Ricordi wrote a postcard from Hawaii.
Can I ask about the way you and Angela describes your films as catalogues or inventories, and there is Inventario Balcanico, but there is also references to this kind of collections of images. So how does this idea of a catalog or inventory, how is it different from what we would consider conventional documentary or archival montage? So what does this mean for you?
Yes, the name of catalog, because it was inventario, catalogo, or other words also about this. It was connected to the things we found and we filmed. So we like to use this title. Karagoiz, for example, is Catalogo 9.5, the original title. And also because when we met at the beginning, it was a time I was occupied by toys, and so toys and scents also, and so we made this we made a film. We went with this film at Venice Festival Mostra. It was the year Bertolucci made show Novecento, and we show catalogo non è altro gli odori che sente was the title, and because we use also fire for this performance, the fireman, two bus of firemen was out of the cinema, but nothing bad happened.
The next thing I'm interested in is, of course, we know from the film from the 1986, Ritorno a Codnociur, where you film your father, Raphael Gianikian, and he tells a story from his writings that describe the story of the exile from Armenia and his family history. And there is also Uomini Ani Vita, which is a film from 1990, which is composed of archival material about Armenia. And of course, we know this is a very important topic for you. But I'm interested how would you reflect on those films today? And I think Donatello also mentioned that you're always working on another film on Armenia. So can you tell us something about that?
No, I was always interested at a certain point in '76, my father, walking, arrived to his village, Khodorchur, and he stayed away for more than 1 month. And because he never spoke about the genocide in the family, he didn't want to speak about this. He used to write and to record his voice of what he was writing. And the day I heard, without that I did, I heard. I arrived. I saw the tomb, the stone, of my mother, and the night the fever was very high. But so I asked him to if it was possible, he can tell me what he never told me. And he said yes 10 years after, in 86. And we just finished from the pole to the equator. And he said, I am ready, we can do. And so we made this in 2 days, in one shot in Venice. And now this film, Ritorno a Codorchur, is still possible to see in Italy on RAI Play. And after a few years, he called me again, and Angela has a very important. She wanted to do this film. She wanted absolutely to do this film, and a day in Venice. She she recorded me and my father, and he was telling what happened to him in Kurdistan, because he was the only survivor with there, where he stayed for 4 years before to be bought from Russian Armenians who looked for the kids with no relatives, parents, and so it told me a very strong history, which and Walter Chiari saw this thing, and he wanted to. He was ill, but he wanted to think. He thought walking in Armenia was good for his health. And so he came with me and Angela in Armenia. It was a journey really incredible.
Maybe not many people know who that is, so maybe Donatello can...
Spiego brevemente magari a chi può non sapere chi è Walter Chiari. He has been quite a very popular comedian in Italy. He has made some films, but he was maybe most popular for on television. So he was a brilliant comedian, really brilliant, like in the style of Jerry Lewis, somehow, with this kind of half slapstick, half, I don't know, cynical irony that he used to have. So to image to me as an old kid, to imagine Walter Chiari close to Gianikian and Riccilucchi, it's a clash. Quando avevo scoperto che avevate fatto il film con cioè che c'era il materiale che ci avevate fatto vedere con Walter Chiari, per me era abbastanza incredibile che due mondi che si scontrano.
One day we was working for RAI Geo after From the Pole to the Equator. Enrico Ghezzi helped us and Geo wanted to produce 3 minutes film with our system every Wednesday. And one of these was about a film about a geisha in Japan. Very, very, very interesting documentary. And Walter saw this on our television and said, I will give you my wait a moment. I have the title in French. Je te donnerai mon dernier souffle. Ti regalerò il mio ultimo respiro. I will give you my last breath. And so we went together to Armenia.
But did you ever make that film produced by Geo? Geo was a TV program in Italy, let's say, the Italian version of National Geographic in some way. So, and the funny thing is that it has also been the place where a couple of underground filmmakers like Guido Lombardi and Anna Laiolo, they have had the chance to somehow keep going in their filmic obsession for a program which was a mainstream program. So it's very funny that now you mentioned that there was this collaboration from this program with you and Angela. But I wonder if you ever made the film.
It it was every Wednesday at the end. As a thing for the audience, and I remember all the Wednesday for 1 year and a half. My father phoned me after watching this work.
At some point, you also started to work from 2000s on. Let's say you and Angela started to work also with galleries and installations in more very sort of prestigious institutions and festivals. So I'm wondering, how does this practice of installations or making productions in art spaces, how is it different from cinema for you? What are the differences in this? Because Angela, of course, she was trained as a painter and you as an architect, so you had a sort of knowledge and background to also do that. And a lot of these installations involved also Angela's drawings, so it's a very different, it's a mix of different media. So how did you sort of approach this, let's say, projects?
Angela she learned watercolor with Oskar Kokoschka in Salzburg at the School of Regard. It was not easy to enter, but she was it was very important for her. And at the Biennale d'Arte 2015, we shown the Armenian role tales, fairy tales. My father translated for her, and it is a scroll of 17 meters long, and it is and we show this at the Isola di San Lazzaro, the Armenian Coventry, and the exhibition, the Armenian of artists abroad won the Golden Lion then, and this was 2015. In 2001, we made the March of Man. It was Harald Zeman exhibition, Plateau of Humankind, and we show 3 screens in a long in distance. The spectator or the viewer has to walk to see all the screen. And the first screen was taken by Etienne Gilles Marais, about Senegalese people, who was very scientific kind of experiment with a kind of machine who can make image very interesting, and the second screen, it is the violence of the 910 in Africa, how they treat the black body. of the mini plays, and the third screen was shot in the 60s in South Africa, and a man gave some money to a naked black woman, and so we make a work about racism, and it is interesting. One thing, in 2005, we made in Rotterdam. They asked us an installation, and we made Terra Nullius, about materials about aborigines. It was a very strong work. And the curious thing is, after the opening, a young man came to our hotel and said to us, you know, I am Aboriginal, and when you show this film, which I liked very much, but you have to ask the permission to the ancestor before to show this work. And so this it is very important, this thing. So it became very rare to show this work again.
But Yervant, I remember, since you were mentioning Rotterdam, many years ago, I don't know, maybe it was 2010, maybe before, during the festival, there was there was an installation made by you and Angela called Voyage en Russie, which was, I think, a kind of a second time of this installation, where you had the roles by Angela, and in several monitors there were, I don't know, a long interview with Ellen Klimov, the materials that you have shot around Akhmatova. What I would like to ask you is that form in that situation, for example, with the material that you and Angela have collected around the journey to Russia, with interviews with people, shootings, object also, it allow to have like an open form to a movie that can last 2 days, 3 days. Any movies will have the length, will have enough length to have all this material. I wonder if that was one way how to have somehow a movie, or something that we still can call a movie, but in a different space, not in a movie theater, but in a big room, and with drones, the one made by Angela, and in the monitors, the many shootings, in that case for the...
Yes, I just explained at the beginning this Russian journey, and who was shown at Kassel. It was shown in Kassel, and at the same time in Athens. It was shown Return to Khodorshur of my father, and I was very happy. Just in front of Turkey, this film of my father was shown there. And yes, the journey to Russia, it is, if you see all the screen, it is 14 hours. And we are thinking to make a film also with this. We met Ida Appelbaum, who was the daughter of Samuel Nappelbaum, the great photographer of the Russian avant-garde, but also of Lenin and Stalin. And she was an artist, and she was in the 40s. She was imprisoned, and she stayed 5 or 6 years in Siberia, working on the railroad, and she was the friend of Akhmatova, and when they imprisoned the husband of Akhmatova, Gumilov, Anna Akhmatova asked her to go to bring something to him in prison. And a day they said, "You don't have to come again." And she understood that he was shot. He was shot. And in the drawing there is a drawing by Angela, who they go together, Nappelbaum and Nina Berberova, early in the morning, and they see the fish and the name of Gumilov shot. And when when Nina Berberova, I don't know if is known in this incredible writer, and wrote, come si chiama il libro della Berberova?
Il corsivo è mio.
Yes, il corsivo è mio. She wrote, and she came to Milan. She came to Milan, and we were the only Italian filmmaker who filmed her. Not long, but and she was going to see again after 70 years Ida Applebaum again, and Angela wanted to show her this book, Il Corsivo Mio, and she said to us, "It is the first time I signed this, but my real name is Berberian." She was Armenian.
I wonder if from the public we have few people. There's some question.
Okay. Hi. I have a question. You mentioned your father several times, and you were referring to his work. Can you tell a bit more what I didn't catch before, maybe there was said something about it. Obviously, your father was, he was shooting, no, films as well, or captivated, no. Did it?
He was a survivor of the genocide.
But, yes. Okay, I didn't catch it.
You heard the question, Yervant?
But I didn't understand. We speak of.
The question was if you can tell more about your father. So, but I think you said quite some things. Maybe if you have something to add, because I think the story is for those who haven't seen Return na Hodorčur. It's difficult to describe also the film, because the film is it's a long interview with his father, who is reading his notes from that he wrote years ago, that describe his travel to Armenia in search of the lost village of his youth, which was
Yes, yes.
destroyed, and the whole population was exiled. Yes. Did you find the Hodorchur? I mean, it's still there, but did you actually go there?
With another name, yes, it is there still. And my father, it was long to arrive there, and but you're right. We lived on the mountains in Italy. And he loved to walk. He loved very much to walk, but not alone. He liked to walk with groups of people on the mountains. And so many years ago, I understood that this was a reminder of the deportation of the Armenian people, and when he came back, he wrote the name on little stones where he was arriving. And my father is in all the 3 chapters of I Diari di Angela. It's possible to see my father, and in the first, it's possible to see also the place where he was in Turkey, in his memories, and the name of the town was Malatya, and if you saw today the mass grave of the German soldiers, he wrote who he was. They arrived there with still the family was not killed, and they were constricted to make a mass grave for the 10,000 Armenians from Hodorchur. So he was digging the earth, and when I was kid, with him, we walked together on Sunday on the mountain, and we returned home very late in the night. And I was scared of the dark thing. And I said to him about the dead people, and he said, "You don't have to be scared by the dead people." And so this I remember now about what means genocide.
Someone else with
Also
questions?
in the third diary, there is his image. He is still very open to what happened to him.
Thank you.
Maybe it's a very general question, but maybe you can share with us what would be the advice or the message for young generations who would like to work with archives from your experience? What would you advise them how to start digging into all these materials? What was your the most important experience, and what would you share with them?
It is difficult to explain. It is difficult to explain because all the material, the film materials are. I was interested in material about. We were interested on the material about violence, and it is important to know. I looked for a long time to find materials about Armenians, and it was very difficult because it is still a secret, like it is a secret, the Second World War. It is military secrets. So you have to, we traveled a lot to trying to find, and for example, I don't like to work on materials where on the frames it's written Istituto Luce. So what I can say, you need to love very much this object.
But maybe also to add to this that at the time when you were starting, the interest in the film archives was just starting, in a sense. I think in the 70s and 90s, there were not many people who were thinking about film archives as a source of history, or mostly they were either forgotten or destroyed, or and we know from history that film was constantly destroyed, especially nitrate films to make bombs, for instance, or other products. So it was an era where you were one of the first artists or filmmakers who really started to explore history or archives in a systematic way. Because on the other hand, the film historians and archivists were doing this within institutions, but as artists, you were one of the first doing it. So I think today everybody faces so much material, both old, both historic, both contemporary, so that maybe some of these lessons are very difficult to translate into this time, no? It's not really a question anyway. Any more questions from the audience? Yes. There's a question here.
Good.
Hello. How does it feel to use films, archive materials that somebody else shot in the past? How do you consider, how do you relate to all these people who made those films that you used later on? What do they mean to you? Are they sort of co-authors of your films, kind of helpers, or simply, I don't know, not important so much? I mean, the people, whether you knew something about them or not. You worked on the materials, you used them, and created something new. But actually, without those people, your film, some of your films wouldn't exist actually. What do these people mean to you?
Okay.
It is very complicated, but because you can see these boxes at my on my back. These boxes, all these boxes contains what we wrote about, what we saw, the descriptions of what we saw. And so there are, yes, it is important to find official things shot in 35 millimeter by Luca Comerio, and also to know there then it was the police and the army say to Comerio, he can't continue to shoot the war because it was not good to show the dead Italian soldier on the ground. So he stopped to do his work, and from the pole to the equator, we know all the frames, but one by one, we saw, because you have to touch with your hand. And we saw, but during the wars, we were interested also in private films, the films, and it was important to us to work. In many films, we work on private materials, and the person inside became our friends. We continue their presence, and this is. And sometimes we go to research what we found. We travel again to find to have news about these materials.
May I give my own answer? I won't dare to give Gianikian answer, but I will say no. Anybody who use a machine to shoot any kind of image, from a moral point of view, from a casual point of view, whoever he is, the passage through this machine, camera, film camera, video camera, mobile phone, like we have today, somehow, in some way, our gaze, our way of looking, somehow disappeared. This is why they were so important, people like the Nouvelle Vague, Jacques Rivette, who insisted in not imposing a point of view, but to let a point of view be a philosophical and political point of view. I will add Gianikian and Ricciducci in this case, even if they were not the one who were shooting. The point is, when we see a movie shot by Comerio, the Prigionieri della Guerra, like we have seen this morning, or the movies that they have made with the image, I would say, about colonialism, the Italian fascists, the people who were going to Africa to shoot, rich people who had the money to buy a 9.5 millimeters camera, I don't know, 100 years ago, and that was able to go to Africa and to shoot the beauty of this new country from a Western point of view. It's not a matter of who is the one beside the camera, because beside the camera you have an entire culture, in that case, the Italian fascism, which is more than just Mussolini and his crew, and it's even more than the population. I'm sorry, I'm not answering at your place, Yervant, but the question was so interesting to me that I wanted to add. And the movies that they have made, sadly, we just have shown 3 of them: Prigionieri della Guerra, Frente, Guernica, and this evening we are going to see Diario di Angela. But if we would have seen Pays Barbares, for example, the barbarian country, which is about Italy, or the one that Gianikian was mentioning in Africa, or Inventario Balcanico that Neil was mentioning as well. You can have like an entire perspective of it's the machine who looks for us somehow. And it is the problem also at the same time. So it's the chance and the problem in the same. I'm sorry to.
I can also add my answer too, because I agree that this is an interesting question. And I think that the question of who made these films originally is absolutely important in their films, and it's part of the film text itself, because maybe it's not always explicit from which archive or which collection this footage is drawn or used, but I think the awareness that somebody shot this material 100 years ago, and as Donatello said, that was in a special social or any kind of different context or situation, and that they shoot a sort of otherness or something exotic or something to be conquered or dominated, that relationship is always very present. So the question of who is doing the shooting and who is being shot, literally, there are many films about, many scenes about people shooting animals or people. It's absolutely crucial. So of course, it's important who the people who made these films are. I think it's part of their of the narrative or the idea, no? Yervant, we are trying to answer, adding more answers to this question.
No, it is. I read this. I read this image, and I found our friend Raymond Bellour.
Yes.
He was writing on, and we too, we wrote on traffic, and he was, and we too, we were involved in what we refilmed in Inventario Balcanico. Where in a part of it there is a woman who gave birth to a very small baby, and the mother on the bed, and the little body of this, and this touched me very much, me and Angela, and also Raymond Bellour. So in French, it's written "Désistante choisie."
L'humanité or that, no? I think we have come to a moment to present the award. Yeah,
Prima di chiederti di magari dirci due parole sul film che qui in sala si vedrà fra una mezz'ora circa, che è i Diari di Angela, il capitolo 3. Come sai, ti abbiamo dato questo premio quest'anno, che tu hai già nelle mani. E c'è... E c'è Mattia.
No, posso stare in piedi, guarda che Urban ci può riprendere tutti, ma Yervant volevo soprattutto farti presentare le figlie di Darko Bratina, Maida Bratina e Mila Bratina. Maida è anche la presidente della nostra associazione Kino Atelier, perché questo premio per noi sempre come una ispirazione e anche molto, diciamo, molto personale, forse questa è la parola giusta, perciò chiederò l'aiuto e chiederò a loro di leggere la nostra motivazione e di fare per la prima volta nella storia del premio d'Arcobratina in questo modo remoto, digitale. Siamo un po' non abituati, però nello stesso modo tanto grati che abbiamo l'opportunità di ascoltarti e di vedere anche i tuoi film. So yeah, the word to Maida.
Sì, ne approfitto per salutare anch'io, quindi buonasera. Siamo qui con molta emozione, anche se la vediamo a distanza, perché in effetti devo dire che tutti i premi che sono stati dati, questo premio d'Arcobratina è stato dato sempre a cineasti veramente speciali, ecco, quindi anche questa volta per noi così è un onore poterla avere qui a distanza e poterle consegnare questo premio in modo particolare. Quindi leggeremo la motivazione come sempre facciamo in due lingue, in sloveno e in italiano. Io la leggerò in sloveno, mia sorella in italiano. Niente, no, sì, ringrazio anche tutto il lavoro fatto dal gruppo del Kino Atelier perché sì, c'è stato veramente un investimento di tempo, fatica e intelletti notevoli. Torej, jaz bom najprej prebrala to motivacijo v slovenščini, Mila kasneje v italijanščini. Letošnjo nagrado prejema torej Yervant Gianikian in Angela Riccilucchi, ki sta v 50 letih ustvarila filme, kakršnih prej ni bilo. Izhajajoč iz ponovno odkritih podob, ki torej niso pripadale njima, temveč vsem nam, sta svojo analitično kamero stkala spomin človeškega sveta. Dovolj je pomisliti na njune filme, nastale iz posnetkov, ki jih je Luca Comerio vekovečil med prvo svetovno vojno. S svojimi filmi sta prepotovala svet in vdihnila novo življenje filmom, ki sta jih odkrila pri svojem raziskovanju zgodovine človeškega nasilja, ter znala ob tem pokazati novo pot, pravzaprav več poti do ustvarjanja filmov, svobodno, dialektično, poetično, v neodvisnosti nekonvencionalnih, neudobnih in dinamičnih pristopov.
Yervant Gianikian e Angela Riccilucchi in 50 anni ormai hanno realizzato un cinema che non esisteva, partendo da immagini ritrovate, non loro quindi, ma di tutti, lavorando sulla memoria del nostro mondo. Basti pensare ai loro film realizzati a partire dalle immagini che Luca Comerio ha girato durante la Prima Guerra Mondiale, lavorando con la loro camera analitica. Entrambi hanno girato il mondo con i loro film e hanno rigirato i film che hanno trovato nella loro ricerca della storia della violenza umana e hanno saputo indicare una strada, più strade, del fare cinema liberamente, dialetticamente, poeticamente, nell'indipendenza di scelte non convenzionali, scomode, dinamiche.
Grazie. Grazie.
Un oggetto contundente.
Magia della tecnologia. Il premio è già arrivato a Milano.
Yervant, salutiamo, a parte se vuoi dire liberamente quello che ti pare, ma noi fra mezz'ora, dopo una piccola pausa, dopo quest'ora e mezza bella intensa, guarderemo il vostro ultimo film, tuo, di Angela, di Lucrezia, insomma, delle persone che ci hanno messo dentro la loro energia. Se ce lo vuoi introdurre anche brevemente. I'm asking to introduce to Yervant to introduce the new film, I Diari di Angela, chapter number 3, which has been premiered in Venice 1 month ago, and that's it.
Ecco, allora, come prima cosa sono molto contento di essere tornato a Gorizia, dove avevo un amico carissimo che abitava in Piazza Vittoria al numero 10, Ugo Casiraghi. È stato un amico importante per noi. E ho filmato.
Perdonami, Yervant, lasciami tradurre per chi non parla italiano quello che dici. He wanted he's happy because he's getting back to Gorizia because he used to have a very good friend who was living in Piazza della Vittoria. I don't get the number 10, and this man was Ugo Casiraghi.
Sì, perciò voglio dire che quando ho conosciuto Angela, Angela era molto presa dal lavoro dell'arte e Oskar Kokoschka gli aveva scritto un biglietto. Oskar Kokoschka wrote for her a paper asking to the Italian state to make possible to survive with her art. And this didn't happen. And Angela, for living, she was a teacher in a school of special school. In Italy, it's important to say it is quasi un manicomio. And she wrote in the last days of her life the drawings of these kids, and it is very important. The voice, Angela's voice, became the voice of Lucrezia Lerro, who gave the voice to Angela about this. And also the same voice gave to Angela her notes about the illness, and this was very important for the audience. So it is very important. You can see this film, and I am happy because the second screening of I Diari di Angela, Noi due cineasti, capitolo 3, will be in Gorizia, Nova Gorica. Sono molto I am very happy. Thank you very much. C'è ancora. Grazie, mille grazie.
Grazie, hvala, Yervant, te lo dico in sloveno anche. Grazie davvero. E niente, aspettiamo il tuo prossimo film.
Grazie. Thank you, Donatello. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Lucrezia. We know you are also
Yeah,
in the
grazie
background of the frame.
Lucrezia, the ghost behind.
Ciao.
Fatti salutare. Ciao Lucrezia.
Ciao.
Grazie. Anche a Matteia, Donatello, Urban, tutti. Due Matteia.